Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Humanitarian Horizons with Christina DiArcangelo. Today, I have a very special guest on, John Schwartz, who's going to talk to us about some various things that I think are very important for us to discuss. Welcome, John. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Christina, how are you?
I am fantastic. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what you're doing and your organization, and we'll just take it from there.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I'll first share about the nonprofit that we set up. I set up the Center for Combating Elder Financial Abuse, and I set that up in February of 2021. And what we do is we serve our nation's 58 million seniors and their families by showing them what elder financial abuse really looks like. And what I mean by that, I look at it from the eyes of the predator, and I will show individuals how predators will target, groom, and then finally take control of individuals. And hopefully, by educating people on how predators operate, they'll be able to detect a predator before they're able to gain control of them. So I set this up 3.5 years ago, and that's after I retired from the FBI after 24 years. So I was an investigator for 24 years. I never worked this as a violation, though. And before that, I was in the Army for 9 years, and I joined the Army after graduating West Point in 1986. So that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving us a little bit about your story and about your nonprofit. I think the viewers understand now why I wanted to have you on the show, because obviously my family was impacted by elder abuse. And when I was on LinkedIn one day looking for people who are working in the sector, well past the crime and halfway through everything that we were working on, I found you and your organization. And I wish I said this when we were at the book launch party, when I was talking about you to everyone. I wish that I would have known about your organization earlier, because there was so much I had to do that I was kind of, doing my best, just trying to get through everything. And quite honestly, I didn't really know a whole lot about elder abuse until it happened to my family, which is the whole premise for why you started your organization, is because most people don't even understand elder financial abuse. They don't understand all the different components of elder abuse. And so I really appreciate having you on today so that we could talk a little bit about it.
Great.
So why don't you get started? Is there something you'd like to share with us, like maybe some frequent cases or things that you're made aware of that you'd like to talk about? Because I think it's important that people understand some of these components of elder abuse and what to look for.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do. That's exactly what I do. I look at cases, I look for convicted cases so that I can show individuals, no, this is a convicted predator. They did groom and then take control of their victim. So this story comes from the Philadelphia Inquirer just yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, so timing's everything, right? I mean, how did that happen? First of all, it's Philadelphia Inquirer published August 18th, 2024 at 5 a.m. The headline is, "She spent money stolen from the elderly on trips, parties, and renewing her wedding vows. Her sudden death has left victims feeling robbed once again." So your audience can look this up. Below that headline, it says, "Gloria Byers stole millions from elderly wards whose financial courts had appointed her to oversee. Her death exposed shortcomings in the system meant to protect the most vulnerable Pennsylvanians." And again, I'm reading this from the article. It goes on. It begins with, "An overseer appointed by judges to manage the finances of more than 100 elderly or incapacitated Pennsylvania residents instead regularly drained their life savings and retirement nest eggs, spending more than 1.5 million on luxury cars, vacations, and parties."
Wow, that's so crazy. And the fact that it's Philadelphia, and that's where I reside, and that's where the crime happened. So I appreciate you bringing this up, because we're still in the midst of this justice stuff with my mom. And so this would be an important case for me to share with the ADA that's prosecuting, as well as my personal attorney that's been overseeing all these things. I've noticed that since I've realized what happened to my mom and I got involved, more and more cases I'm reading about elder financial abuse. And then I met you, And then you opened my eyes to all the various elder financial abuse cases that you had found, that you've been educating people on. I mean, it's just popping up left, right, and center. And the fact that you're an ex-FBI agent and now on the FBI website, you can report elder abuse when you have a loved one that has been involved in elder abuse. I didn't know about that either. So obviously, this is becoming a major issue for many, many families. I read an article and I thought about you yesterday. It's kind of like elder abuse, but it's probate related. There was a woman who basically worked at some company, and one of the senior partners died for this company. And this woman was like an office manager and had access to accounts. And so she was stealing money from his financial accounts pre-probate. And then she was so shrewd and snide, she got in with the family and was helping the family find all of this gentleman's accounts. Meanwhile, she's stealing all this stuff, and she spent it just like this other person that you just mentioned on trips, TikTok, influencers, all kinds of, and it was over $1 million. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, this is someone who stole from a man who died in the midst of working at a firm and was stealing from his estate unbeknownst to the family.
That's it. That's exactly right. So,
And
right.
again, targeted to family, right? Let me help
Yeah.
you. I'm here to help. This was a court appointed, in this case with this lady, she was a court appointed person who was supposed to oversee. And did you know there was a movie about this on Netflix?
No,
Yes.
well, is it the movie I Care a Lot?
Yes, it's the same thing.
It sure is. So, hey, first of all, let me share with the audience. I think that's a great movie. I'll tell you this, the first 30 minutes of the movie, I think accurately depict fraudulent guardianships, just like this case that I shared out of Philadelphia Inquirer. The first 30 minutes is great. After that, it's still a good movie, but it becomes a little bit more of a Hollywood.
Dramatic.
Yeah,
Yes.
dramatic Hollywood movie. But I'll share with you, what you're describing is what's in a DOJ press release from June 30th, 2021, talking about Miss Gloria Byers. And the headline is Court-appointed Pennsylvania guardian and Virginia co-conspirator indicted for stealing over $1 million from elderly wards. But this is what's said here. Acting U.S. Attorney Williams said, instead, she and her co-conspirators allegedly used her position to help themselves to the very property they should be protecting, no better than wolves in sheep's clothing. So I bring this up because that's exactly I think that applies very well to the situation you described.
Yes, absolutely. And like even my mom, right? Her case, here there's somebody who comes into my mom's circle promising to help her, provide her with some companionship, help her get her prescriptions, do some things around the house. And while taking advantage of her mental health and the fact that, she didn't have the best relationship with my brother and I because of her mental health incapacitations. And then my brother, obviously, it was also a mental health patient. So it was the perfect storm where this guy just infiltrated and just kept doing more and more and more and more until he took everything she had. So this is what these people do. They have, like, it's like a target. They have their eyes on the target and they just keep going to see how far they can get away with things.
No, that's it. No, I agree with that. Again, this case out of in the Philadelphia Inquirer. Let me also share with everybody another DOJ press release dated November 16th, 2023. Pennsylvania guardian Gloria Byers and her co-conspirator found guilty for stealing from elderly wards. So she was found guilty in November of last year. So yeah, I mean, she did this and she did exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. She just went right out. It's a shame. It's really sad, like that this keeps happening. These people think they can get away with these things. And, eventually you're going to get caught. It's not going to go on forever, but it's how many people have been impacted by these perpetrators.
Yeah, I agree. So when you say how many people have been impacted, I'll take that a step further. How many people have experienced financial ruin because of these predators? Because this is exactly what the predators do. As once they target you and groom you and now gain that control, that high degree of control on you, they'll wipe you out
without a care in the world. They just don't care.
Yeah.
And
No.
that's the sad thing. These people have worked their whole lives. They've saved and saved and saved for retirement. There's no way that they can earn back what they've lost. They can't. It's all gone.
That's right. That's exactly right. So what I'll tell, in some instances, I've seen couples lose their entire life savings, right? And what do you say to them? What I tell them, and I mean this 100%. First of all, don't blame yourself, because we never blame the victim. We put 100% blame on the predator because they committed a criminal act. Not even 1% blame goes onto the victim, not even that. So I share that with them. And then in that case where it's a couple, I'll tell them this: you still have each other. And that's probably worth more than your entire nest egg. So you have each other, build from that. But that's the best I can offer them. But I think that's some pretty sound advice.
I agree, because to your point, at least they're still living. Some of these cases, the people die because they're not being taken care of properly. They're withholding medicine. Whatever they're doing, they're not taking them to the doctors. They're holding them up in hotel rooms. And this is just ridiculous. And then they die. So at least these people are still alive. They still, they still have each other. They still have their family, whoever's around. It's just a shame that this is just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And it's still going on.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. That's why I wanted to set up the center, so that I could educate people on what this crime really, really looks like. And what I'll say, a little bit of education goes a long ways, right? I mean,
Right.
all individuals need is just a little bit of understanding on this. I'll also say that I also encourage seniors and trusted and responsible family members or friends to sit down together, work together, identify vulnerabilities, and then start hardening the target.
Right. Because I'm sure you've probably seen the press also about the elders who get phone calls where their grandkid or somebody is being held, and they need to pay ransom and all this crazy stuff that's been happening lately. It's gone rampant. One of my neighbors, ironically, that lives where I live in my community, I happened to be at the park with my son, and she was there with her grandchildren. And I was talking to her, and she's getting ready to retire, and she works for a bank. And I was like, oh, how's everything going? Because, the banking itself, not to get into the politics, but it's been kind of crazy, right? And she said the main reason why she was retiring was because of this instance where elders are being held ransom for financial gain by the perpetrators, who pretend to have stolen a family member or done some crazy things, or the person's gotten an accident, whatever's happened. And some of these people are as bold to drive to come and get the elder, pick them up, drive them to the bank, sit in the parking lot while the people pull the money out. And this is local. Again, this is Pennsylvania. This is in Chester County, the same county where the crime committed against my mother occurred. So that's another form of elder abuse that most people don't understand is actually happening.
Absolutely. I'll take it a step further. Now, the thing that I've seen is gold bars, that these predators, and I don't know exactly how it works, but this is how I think it works. There's a criminal enterprise, a criminal organization where somebody's speaking to the senior on the telephone saying that either your grandchild is missing, or you have viruses on your computer. And oh, by the way, we see that you've uploaded child porn and you need to pay
yes,
legal feeds. And then from there, they'll say, we will send somebody to your house, and to make payments for this problem, we want you to pay in gold bars. So now that the gold bar scheme has now risen. This is the first year that I've seen it. There was an individual in Harrisburg that got arrested for picking up gold bars from
wow.
home. Yeah.
Wow, I had never heard about this one. Again, what's going on in Pennsylvania? That is three different things that we have talked about today, or four actually, that have happened in Pennsylvania.
All right, so great question, right? I mean, right, we're right in just a few minutes. We talked about a couple of things happening in the state of Pennsylvania. So hopefully your listeners are saying, well, what's happening in my state? I'm based
Yeah.
in Haymarket, Virginia, outside Manassas. What's happening in the state of Virginia? I mean, across the nation.
Right. It's everywhere. Well, John, it's come our time already. See, I told you it flies by.
Sure, yeah.
But I really appreciate you coming on today and talking to me about and talking, and sharing with all of our viewers and listeners some things about elder abuse, because this is such an important topic. I have really been talking a lot more about this, obviously, since the book came out. I feel like, if this could happen to us, the blue collar family, this can happen to anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. It truly can. So I'll ask your audiences to go visit my website. That's endefa.org. Again, endefa.org. It stands for End Elder Financial Abuse, and you'll find some more information there.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day and sharing this information with everyone. And of course, we'll have you on again to talk about more of this, because unfortunately, it's not going to go away. But it would be nice to be able to talk about some success stories of, hey, these people have become educated by your center or whatever, and they stopped it, before it got worse. It would be very nice for us to find some of these individuals too, so that they can also share what happened and what they did and how they used their superhero powers to solve this problem.
That sounds great.
Well, thank you again, John. And thank you to all of our listeners and viewers for our support. Again, I'm Christina DiArcangelo, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye for now.